Hello, I'm here with May Simonis, a guitarist and songwriter and singer too. That kind of goes hand in hand, I guess. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is May Simonis. I make music. I live in Brooklyn, New York right now. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Sick. Okay, cool. I had a few topics I wanted to go over, but the first I think is your newest EP, Kabutomushi. What would you say your favorite song of yours is on the EP? Like,
That's
what are you like most proud of on that one?
yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I really like all of the songs. If I
Me
had to,
too.
yeah, yeah, if I had to pick one, maybe Kabutomushi, the title track. I like
Mm-hmm.
that one a lot. Yeah, I think it's not as like technically difficult to play as some of the other ones. But I feel like I really like the lyrics and kind of like the story of the song. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And I actually had a lot of questions about that specifically for that song. So I'm very happy we're already kind of on the same wavelength here. And then I do actually have a few other questions about some of the songs on the EP as well. And this has been on my mind since I heard the EP months and months ago. So on the song Inaka, at the 2 minute and 35-second mark, there is this kind of like musical motif moment that I think occurs 4 times throughout the whole song. And it really, really reminds me of Heart Shaped Box by Nirvana. Is that on purpose? Because it's almost like the same pitch and the same tempo. And I'm like, that sounds a lot like that song. I've been so
Hmm.
curious about that.
Wait, 2:35?
Yeah.
Let me listen. It's
Okay,
not
please.
intentionally inspired by Heart Shaped Box, but I do
Mm,
love Nirvana. So wait, let me listen.
mm,
Actually, I'm not sure
sure. Yeah,
what you're talking about. Okay, so 2:35.
just about. Yeah. I think that's the first instance of it.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
It totally is.
it's not on purpose, but now that I
Okay.
think about it, it does kind of sound like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it came from. I listened to a lot of Nirvana when I was younger, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, so in preparation for this, I watched as many of your interviews as I had time for, and I think I remember you mentioned that in one of them, and
Hmm.
I think that's what also kind of like reinforced it in my mind. So honestly, I am like so surprised that that was unintentional because it is like so close, I swear to God.
Right. Yeah, I feel like
But for
stuff.
legal reasons, it's completely different.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like the song is probably different enough that it's not gonna cause any issues, but yeah.
I would agree with that. Okay, so on the song Takara Mono, that is probably just in general one of the like sweetest songs that I've ever heard. And so I want to know like where those lyrics kind of came from on that song.
Yeah, that song was kind of written for my partner, Micah. Yeah,
Mm,
that's what it's
nice.
about. Hmm.
Okay, cool. And now we are at the part where I ask about Kabutomushi, the song. So could you kind of explain sort of the story behind that one? Is that very fictional or is that very real to true events or what was that like?
Yeah, I would say that song is kind of a song reminiscing on my memories when I was younger and I would visit Japan pretty much like once a year during the summers to see
Mm,
my grandma and go to school there for a couple weeks.
mm,
And so most of the lyrics are about that, like little snippets of kind of the things that I remember fondly. I mean, I remember all of it fondly, but
mm.
yeah, that's kind of what the song is about. Yeah.
I think that's probably my favorite on the album. And I don't know if you've had a chance to watch my review for this EP. It only came out yesterday morning, so if you haven't, I completely understand. But like one thing I said in that was that I really like this song, except I always kind of am dreading when it comes up because it's like so like sad and it makes me emotional and I get chills and I don't always want to feel that way. I think it is amazing that you were able to really elicit that kind of like reaction out of me and of course probably lots of other people too because I think that it's just such a well written song in just like every way. And I don't want to spoil my review for you, but you are in the 10 out of 10 club. So that's
Wow.
all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, no, well, thank you. Like, favorite, subscribe, share with all your friends, hit the notification bell. Thank you so much. I think in particular that one line of no chance for goodbyes because when it's dark, you're in the sunlight is like one of the saddest and like truest things I've like ever heard. And I just love that so much. I think that is again so well written. So I'm trying not to like ego boost you too much, but I really do like it. I really, really do. It's
Thank
really
you.
fantastic.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Another question I have too is so this EP to me, much more than Tsukino, seems a lot more math rock inspired. Are you much of a math rock fan? Because you like totally have the kind of guitar proficiency. Is that something you're into?
Um, I would say yes. I honestly haven't listened to that much math rock in my
Mm,
life,
mm,
but I really like the band Regal Lily. They're like a Japanese
yeah,
band. Into like a little bit of Trico and I mean Elephant Gym recently because we were on tour with them in
yeah.
September. Um, so it hasn't been like a huge part of my life musically. Like it's not something that I've listened to that much or that I've played, but I think just having heard it enough that I'm like, let me try this thing or
Mm,
whatever, and then it kind of comes out that way.
mm.
Yeah, and some friends in college too would make like mathy type
Oh, that's
music, and
sick.
so that was probably an influence too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy you say Trico because that's my favorite band of all time. So nice shout out. Nice, nice shout out. I feel like that's kind of why I have such an affinity for this EP because I just really like math rock in general. And I think you've really captured that whole style and then managed to also like apply it to jazz and also bossa nova. I have kind of been like talking about this EP to my friends in that I feel like this is like very moshable jazz, and it's almost like stank face bossa nova. Sometimes I'll be listening to Wakare no Kotoba, and I'll just be like, "Yeah, that's a good guitar lick. Yeah, brother. All right." So, as a fan of yours and as a math rock fan, I think you should go further into it. I think you could really see some success sort of in that lane too. So that's my recommendation from a guy on the internet. I actually have a section at the very end here where I don't know if you've ever seen a Nardwuar interview where he kind of recommends other sorts of like music too. So I've got some recommendations for you. I think they're like totally sort of in your lane too. So I'll talk about that later on. So speaking of other artists, though, perfect segue, nailed it. You've had a lot of collaborations this year. You've been kind of everywhere. So first off, congratulations for that. I think that's amazing, and you're really making the rounds. It seems like kind of worldwide, in particular. So that's super cool. When I had talked to you at the Seattle show, I had mentioned that I am a huge Mamiko Suzuki fan, and you were on that album. I was in my car. I started playing it, and then I got to the like third or fourth song, and I was like, "Why does this sound like May Simonis?" And then I heard your vocals come in, and I was like, "No way!" And so I checked my phone; it said featuring, and I was like, blew my mind. So, how did that come to be?
Yeah, so I think I'm trying to remember when I first started becoming friends with her. It's been a couple years, I think, actually, but
Really?
I think she just found my music on, I don't know exactly how she found it, maybe just like Spotify, Discover, whatever.
Mm,
But, and then she followed me one day, and I was like, who's this? You know, because
mm,
she had like a lot of followers or whatever, and
yeah.
followed her back, and like, we kind of just became friends slowly from there. And when I went to Japan, when was that? Maybe like maybe 2022, something like that. Yeah, I like met her for the first time and we hung out.
Mm.
And now every time I go to Japan, we hang out and
Oh, that's so cool.
we've played like a show together and yeah, she's really sweet. She's a really nice person, really
Yeah.
supportive. Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. So, when you were writing that song with her, was there something new you had to adapt to or learn in sort of working with someone who is known for her singing, but also for her rapping too? because I don't see you working with a lot of like rappers much, you know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, kind of the way this song went was that she basically already had like the whole song written, but it wasn't like arranged in the way that it is now on the
Mm,
released version. It was very much it was just like one strum guitar
mm,
chords. Like there wasn't any specific necessarily like style to it. And like so what I tried to add was like I guess kind of like a groove and like different voicings and just arrange it out that way,
mm.
um, and add some like vocal harmonies and stuff like that and like the scatting and all that stuff. But I mean that song I guess for her was more of just like a singing song, so for that reason it didn't feel necessarily hard or anything. It was more just like figuring out, okay, how do I like what can I add I guess to this.
I think that's my favorite song on that album. And I'm hoping next time you're in Seattle, I will have the vinyl. And if you could sign it, that'd be super cool.
Yeah,
I'll
for
let you know.
sure.
So, wait, would you be open to collabing with her again on a song of yours or song of hers or on an entirely new combo kind of project? Because I'd love that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I hope we can keep
Cool.
making music together. Yeah.
Now, a follow up to that, and I'm happy you said yes. So, if you guys do make a new song together, and you want to make a cute little name, I'm thinking Mamiko, and I'd like the rights for that joke. So you can use it, but I would like to keep the rights for it.
Right. Okay, yeah. I'll talk to you about it. I'll let her
Sick.
know.
Love that. Thank you so much. Speaking of her being a fan of yours, there's someone else who is a fan of yours, and his name is Flea. I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, and he's probably one of my favorite bassists of all time. I think that's maybe even how I found out about you, was because he liked something of yours on Instagram. And I was like, well, if she has that Flea cosign, then she must be pretty good, I guess. And then I checked it out and I was like, he's so right. He's so right. So, what's knowing Lee like? Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah, he's a really nice guy. I mean, I've only met him once. Like he came to a show in LA at the end of that
Mm,
tour at the Troubadour
mm,
in November, I guess. And yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's been like super supportive. We've kind of just been like social media friends, I guess, for the most part. But
mm,
it really means it obviously like means a lot to me that he is a fan because like I'm a
yeah,
fan, and everyone that I know is a fan of him. My
yeah.
like my band, like my bassist learned bass from Flea essentially, like from like
Mhm.
transcribing like Flea lines. So
I feel like this whole interview, it's just one huge ego boost. So if you need me to stop, stop me. And I'll maybe say some like maybe like insults or negative or like whatever I can come up with in the moment because I do not have those prepped in the slightest. Like, oh man, that's such a tacky color of cabinets. Yuck.
Great.
Yuck. I know you mentioned Elephant Gym. What do you like about them and what was it like touring with them too?
Yeah, they're just all really amazing musicians. Like they're so tight. The
Yeah.
arrangements are like insane. The songwriting is really amazing. Yeah, and they're really nice people too. Like touring with them, they're like super friendly and just always down to help. Yeah.
Are you familiar with their like last few albums at all or
Honestly, not so much. Like, I mean, I've heard a lot of the songs, obviously, because I
mm,
would watch their set pretty much every night. But
yeah.
I actually haven't listened to like that much of their recorded music. I'm more of like I've experienced the live show a lot from being on tour, but I haven't listened
Yeah.
to their whole discography or anything. Yeah.
Well, they have a 2019 album called Underwater, and it is basically an international collaboration album with a featured artist on pretty much every song. Try to get on the next one if they make it. Again, I would love that, and I don't think I'm alone in that. But I think you fit in their sound very well. Please,
Yeah, no, for sure. I
sweet.
would love that. We actually talked about doing a song, I think, but I like didn't have time to work on it, but I should. I
Yeah,
should do it now though. Yeah, when I have
please.
time.
Since you write in a lot of Japanese and also English, I guess how do you feel satisfied when you use one and then are, I guess, ready to then move on to the other? What's that like for you?
Yeah, I feel like I mean, a lot of it just has to do with whatever feels natural and, like, what comes to me in the moment, like, if I'm trying to maybe I'll start in Japanese, and if I get stuck, then I'll switch to English, and then once
Mhm,
I feel like I've said what I need to say in English, then I'll go back, like, it's kinda just, yeah, just whatever feels right, like, I don't plan it out that much. Sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I know that I want this section to be in Japanese," or, "I know I want this section to be in English." But even if I have that, like, I don't know, pre-decided,
mhm.
if I try it and it doesn't work, then I'll just, switch, so yeah, it's just
Nice.
whatever feels right.
So when you do write music, do you typically write the, I guess, lyrics or vocals first, or do you do the instrumental?
I do the guitar first for sure.
Mm,
Really usually
gotcha.
get to, like, the chords first, and then from the chords, there's usually some sort of melody that is, already inside of the chords somewhere, and
Mm,
then I basically just put lyrics to that, like, sometimes I'll write a whole song without, with no lyrics, like, it'll just be me, like, going like, "Do do 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 do," and then, like,
mhm.
after the fact, write all the lyrics because that's kind of, the part that is not I don't know if I would say it's the hardest for me, but I'm just not, like, poet necessarily, so, yeah.
Gotcha. You and the guitar seem pretty, I guess, inseparable. Would you like to record songs where either you are only on the guitar with no vocals, or songs where you aren't on the guitar at all and just doing vocals? Is that something you would be interested in, or are you really just wanting to kind of coexist in that Venn diagram of those two instruments, if you will?
Yeah, I think I would love to eventually do some sort of like, release some sort of album or project that's just guitar,
Mhm,
because that's how I started was playing guitar, like, I didn't really start singing until I mean, I was playing guitar for way longer until I don't know how to explain it, but basically just, like, guitar first, and then I started singing a little bit.
mhm,
But guitar has always been the thing that I've, like, practiced and worked on the most, like, I've never practiced singing necessarily. So I would love to put out a project that's just guitar. In terms of doing something that I'm only singing on, I mean, I'll do that sometimes for, like, collabs and stuff, like, I'll top line or
mhm.
whatever, but, and that's really fun, I really enjoy it, but if I don't think that it would feel like my own song if I wasn't playing an instrument, it would feel like I'm just, like, putting
Sure.
my vocals onto something else. So,
Mhm.
yeah, probably would always need to be able to play guitar for it to feel like it's, like, my song.
Would you be interested in releasing the instrumental versions of your previous songs? Because I do a lot of karaoke and I can sing your songs pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. And I'd love to have an official karaoke version I can do for that, you know? So,
Wow, yeah. No, that would be cool. I haven't really thought about it too much, but sometimes I listen when I hear the instrumental versions of the tracks, I'm like, "Yeah, this actually kinda sounds it kinda could, like, stand alone, without vocals, because it's interesting enough instrumentally usually."
mhm.
But
Oh, yeah. From the other interviews that I have seen you do, when someone asks you what or who your influences are, you normally name other musicians and not so much like singers or songwriters. So, who are some singers or songwriters that are influences on you?
yeah, I would say singers and songwriters that I've listened to enough to say that I think they influenced me, probably, like, Kurt Cobain, like, Nirvana, and maybe Smashing Pumpkins a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't listen to that much vocal music, to be honest, yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
mostly, like, instrumental. Yeah, I just not I guess I listen to bossa nova a lot, and that
Mhm,
is vocal, but other than that, I listen to mostly, like, instrumental jazz.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen an interview where you mentioned the band, Lamp. Are you a fan of them? Are you familiar with their music?
Yeah, yeah, I love Lamp.
Okay,
I
super.
haven't, listened to their whole discography or anything, but I found them, I guess, a while ago, and I was like, "Wow, this is really nice," like, um, same with, like, Ichigo Alba and stuff, I feel like I get compared to artists like that a
Mhm,
lot, which is really an honor because I love them so much, but it's interesting because it's like I've never like, I wouldn't say that I've been influenced by them because I haven't I didn't really like start listening to them until after I had already started like releasing music and stuff. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I was going to mention, so Lamp actually had a collaborative album in 2020 with an artist named Kaide, and they basically do all of the instrumentals while she sings. And I would say it's very like Brazilian bossa nova e. So I checked that out. I think that would be something you really like. And I think the album's only like 20 minutes long, so it's like super short, but it is beautiful in like every way. So highly recommend. I'll add that to your recommendation list.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, no problem at all. Okay, so that's all of your current music. So I want to talk about your upcoming music a little bit. So first off, that song you released recently called Dango Mushi. So it feels like your guitar is maybe a little bit less in the forefront like it was on Kabuto Mushi. And is that
Mhm.
something we should kind of expect on your new album?
I would say, I mean, maybe, but not really. I feel like, yeah, I feel like
Okay.
Danganronpa maybe the mixing was a little, or I feel like the strings were taking a lot of like
Yeah.
space, which is
Oh yeah.
really great. But I would say the album, I mean, I think the guitar is still at the forefront. The difference with the album is that the album is all, like the main guitar parts are all recorded on acoustic guitar, whereas
Mm.
she was all electric guitar. So it kind of has a different
Oh.
tone to it. And yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. Okay, mystery solved. Perfect. Thank you. So for that next album too, would you say you're in the same kind of headspace, or have you maybe moved on a little bit, or like kind of developed any certain feelings, emotions that you're using for this new album?
Yeah, I would say the new album, I think it's maybe a little bit happier overall because I'm a little bit happier overall. I
Nice.
think, and I mean, not that Kabutomeshi is necessarily like all sad or anything. There's definitely like Tegami, I feel like is a happy song, and Takaramono too. But yeah, I don't know. I think with the new album, a lot of the songs are about like my friends or just about living in New York, and there's also some like I guess like sad songs too. But
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. You have no idea.
Thank you.
Kind of on that same train of thought too, will we see any songs from previous EPs or singles appear on the album? Is anything from Kabutomushi maybe going to appear? Is anything from like Tsukino going to appear maybe?
No, the album will be entirely new except Dangomushi is gonna be on the album. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to go over that music recommendation list and I will email it to you too. So the first is by the Japanese math rock band called Toe. It is an album called For Long Tomorrow. It's from, I believe, 2008. Do you know about the band Toe?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Have you heard this album?
I don't think so. Maybe I've heard like a song or two, but I don't think I've listened to it all the way through. Yeah.
It rocks. I think you're really gonna like it. There are a few songs with vocals, but I feel like this is them almost at their like jazziest, and it sounds like you're almost listening to like jazz in a very underground club venue at night. It's raining. Beautiful album. I think you'll really like it. The other is an album that came out last week by the Japanese artist. I think it's pronounced Jinu, so it's with an X, and I
Mm.
think a like je sound. It's called AOR, and I think that is adult oriented romance. It is like a beautiful, like jazzy bossa nova pop sort of like lovey dovey album. It's so good. It's so good. I might rate it like a 9, maybe. It's fantastic. So definitely check that out too.
Yeah, that would
Um,
be great. I would love to
yeah,
check those out.
cool. Well, yeah, that's pretty much everything I have here. So thank you for coming. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the answers too. And thank you for the music. And I think that is all I have to thank you for. I'm done being thankful. So
Thank you. Thank you for this interview and for your support. I really appreciate it.
I'm very excited to listen to whatever you come up with next. Can't promise a 10 on the next project, but I'm sure you'll get pretty close no matter what. So
I hope
I'm
so.
very
I
excited.
hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the interview. So have a great rest of your day and thank you again.
Thank you. You too.